birthdays. Now he's home and he's a logistics specialist.
If you're looking for proven professionals, contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
It's time for the Newsmaker Show on News Talk AM 1480 WLEA.
Good morning, I'm Brian O'Neill. Well, we were hoping for Hornell Democratic Chairman Sam Naska. Sam wasn't able to make it this morning. On in his place is Hornell Mayor Shawn Hogan, who's also the Steuben County Democratic.
Good morning, Brian. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Shawn. First question, on the debate last night, Joe Biden was not there. Does that say that Vice President Joe Biden is not going to run?
Well, you know, as each day slips by, I think it becomes less and less likely. And after the performance of Hillary last night and, you know, kind of establishing the center-left position, you know, I don't know what Vice President Biden could bring to the ongoing debate. I think that Hillary pretty much staked out a center-left position on her, you know, defending, you know, capitalism and small business, and that, you know.
And that's exactly what she did.
I'm a progressive, but I'm a progressive who likes to get things done. And I know how to find common ground, and I know how to stand my ground, and I have proved that in every position that I've had.
How do you think that line went off for her, Shawn?
Well, I think it went great. I think she showed herself as a very strong person, very strong on the issues, and very well prepared. And, you know, she just established herself once again as the front runner. You know, what I liked best about that debate, there wasn't any personal sniping. There wasn't any animus. There wasn't any nonsense.
Why do you think that happens in the Republican debates and not last night to Hillary? Because you see them trying to take down Trump left and right. Why did that not happen with Hillary?
Well, because, you know, they wanted to talk about the issues that are important to the American people. And, you know, just look at the crowds that Bernie Sanders is getting. His message is resonating. You know, whether Bernie could win on the national stage is one thing, but he certainly is driving a message. And he certainly, the message is, you know, enough is enough. We have a government held hostage by billionaires and by Wall Street. And we have to take it back. It's the government for the people and by the people. And, you know, it's no longer that way. Our Congress has been sold to the highest bidder. And that's evident. Look at, you know, the Sheldon Adelman and this Marco Rubio. He's bought and paid for. And so it's, and he's hawkish. Sheldon Adelson is hawkish in his views. He wants the United States to be a constant war, particularly in the Middle East. And it's, you know, it's, we have to, we can't be the world's mercenaries. And that's what we're turning into. We're a nation for hire, basically.
Sanders touched on both of those last night, starting out with Sanders on his economic thoughts.
So I consider myself part of the casino capitalist process by which so few have so much and so many have so little, by which Wall Street, greed and recklessness wreck this economy. No, I don't. I believe in a society where all people do well, not just a handful of billionaires.
And he talked about defense, too.
I am not a pacifist, Anderson. I supported the war in Afghanistan. I supported President Clinton's effort to deal with ethnic cleansing in Kosovo. I support airstrikes in Syria and what the president is trying to do.
By the way, Shawn, how did you think Anderson Cooper handled himself last night?
Well, I thought he said sometimes he was a little bit aggressive, but, you know, I think that he thinks that, you know, that he has to be, you know, that sells in Peoria. But, you know, overall, I think he did very well.
Talking with Hornell Mayor Shawn Hogan. Segment 1, the Democratic debate from last night. Segment 2 will be local issues. Getting back to Hillary's performance, This is what Hillary said when gun control came up.
I think that we have to look at the fact that we lose 90 people a day from gun violence. This has gone on too long, and it's time the entire country stood up against the NRA. The majority of our country supports background checks, and even the majority of gun owners do.
Your thoughts on that, Shawn?
Let's make it perfectly clear. She's not talking about infringing on the rights of any sportsman or any gun owners, responsible gun owners. What she wants to do is tighten up, universal background checks, a waiting period before guns can be purchased, and make sure that the guns don't get in the hands of the wrong people. The problem is NRA has been taken over by the gun manufacturing and the lobby, and they don't want to cooperate in any way, shape, or form. My position is that the NRA could really be a positive force in this situation if they would want to compromise and work with the Senator's Manchin and Senators Toomey, who had really great, I think, common sense gun legislation on background checks and mental health issues. Rather than just saying no, 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 they should work with the different disparate groups and come up with common sense gun legislation, as this country can do. Let's appeal to the better angels in ourselves and make something happen of that nature.
Did you see where Anderson Cooper asked Clinton if Bernie Sanders was tough enough on guns, and Clinton said no, not at all?
No. Yeah, and Bernie, he does come from a very rural state, and a state that is, that is really big on sportsmen's hunting and things of that nature. And, certainly he represents his constituency. He is not, his voting record is basically when it deals with, tort issues. No, he doesn't believe that a gun manufacturer should be sued if some person illegally gets their hand on a gun and does some horrendous carnage with it. I think that Bernie certainly is his voting record doesn't reflect that he is total anti-gun, but it shouldn't. It's not where no one wants to ban guns. No one wants to take anyone's guns away. We want to make sure that those who have them are responsible citizens.
Talking with Hornell Mayor Shawn Hogan on the debate last night. Drudge Report poll, who won the debate last night? Oddly enough, the Drudge Report seems to have Webb coming out first. Not so with the Daily Cost. The Daily Cost has Hillary as the winner.
Well, why would the Drudge Report, why would they be right on anything? And Webb, it was a common opinion that Webb was horrible.
Correction, they had Bernie Sanders with the Daily Cost, but Hillary came in second.
Yeah, well, I think even some of the pundits said it was very close, but I think Hillary comes out on top. I think she was best on the issues, and she established the center-left position, which is where the electorate is moving. And they've had enough of this Tea Party government that's done nothing.
Hillary, she spoke highly of Obama last night.
After the election, he asked me to become Secretary of State. He valued my judgment, and I spent a lot of time with him in the Situation Room.
Do you think as it gets closer and closer to the election that Obama will be brought in by the Democratic candidate for campaigning? Is Obama still popular with the Democrats, do you think?
Well, yeah, I think the president is very popular among Democrats, and I mean among the people nationwide. I think that once the smoke clears, that he has accomplished more as a president than any other in my lifetime. They started to try to get some health care into this country and national health care policy in this country with the Bull Moose Party with Teddy Roosevelt. in 1910 or 11. He was able to accomplish that. One of the few presidents that was able to do some things of that stature, other than Medicare with Lyndon Baines Johnson, and Social Security with Franklin Roosevelt. So he certainly ranks as one of the top presidents as far as helping the American people.
Talking with Hornell Mayor Shawn Hogan. Looking over the headlines from the New York Times, Hillary Clinton turns up heat on Bernie Sanders in a sharp debate from Reuters. Democratic rivals back Clinton on emails, but little else in last night's scrappy debate.
Well, yeah, I think there was a very frank discussion of the issues, and there were some differences. And one of those differences was brought out by the former governor O'Malley of Maryland, when he talks about the banking issue, and that how in 1999 there was legislation that was passed that allowed the banks to become bigger, and they certainly have. The Citibank, Bank of America, the J.P. Morgan, they're all huge banks and financial houses that really control this country.
Talking with Hornell Mayor Shawn Hogan. He's also Steuben County's Democratic chairman. When we get back, we'll talk Alstom and St. James. Stay with us.
Fox News Radio. I'm Wlea at the first Democratic presidential debate of the 2016 campaign. Hillary Clinton making her case for the Oval Office.
I would not ask anyone to vote for me based on my last name. I'd ask them to listen to what I'm proposing, look at what I accomplished in the Senate as Secretary of State, and then draw your own conclusion.
Her major challenger, Bernie Sanders, signaling he would be different in being able to rein in Wall Street, also saying voters need to make the difference.
Here is a truth that very few candidates will say, is that nobody up here, certainly no Republican, can address the major crises facing our country unless millions of people begin to stand up.
Also at the CNN debate on Westwood One News, Jim Webb, Martin O'Malley, and Lincoln Chafee. And the Justice Department is creating a new position to coordinate investigations into violent homegrown extremism. Fox News. We report, you decide.
Back on Newsmaker Show, I'm Brian O'Neill, and we're talking with Hornell Mayor Shawn Hogan, sitting in this morning for Sam Naska. Shawn, Alstom, the latest there is that Hornellsville Town Supervisor Ken Eisman said last night at the regular monthly Hornellsville Town meeting that the Hornellsville Planning Board is working on getting going on building more housing because of the Alstom Amtrak deal. You see a good number of people moving to the area for these 450 new jobs?
Well, yeah, and I think that's eventually going to happen. Certainly, we know there's a shortage of quality housing in our regions, particularly, housing or the upscale apartments that are for rent. Evidence of that is the Federation Building that had 9 loft apartments, and only one was rented as of May 15th when they had the grand opening, and here we are in October, and it's fully leased up. So yes, we know there's a demand for it. I think what we have to do is, there have been companies recently that have done studies about living units and apartment units in our area. We have to be smart about it. And what we have to do is attract quality developers, people that have experience in doing subdivisions, doing townhomes, and doing upscale apartments. And those conversations are being had here on a local level. One of the areas that we're looking at is Upper Fairlawn that runs from Wood Street to West Street. There's about 22 acres of some quality land that could be put into good use. And certainly we have had conversations with potential developers, both in and without of the state. And we just, so this is a huge investment on the part of the developer. They certainly want to make sure that they have there's a market that can be sustainable. So there's a lot of work to be done. You just can't come in and throw up, 25 houses and hope that they sell. You want to know that you have a market for that. So it's an ongoing process. We know it's an issue, not only in Hornell, but the region. So we have to address it, and I think we probably should be looking at it on a regional basis and trying to determine the best areas to develop. Some people want different things and when they're looking for a home and when they're looking for a community to live. So, there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle that have to be put together, and, those are issues that we're working on.
When they talk about the Alstom deal, when I talk about the Alstom deal with Alstom workers, everybody's certain that it will be signed. You're hearing it would be late this year or early in 2016, Shawn?
Well, that certainly would depend on Amtrak and on how quick they're going to move on this thing. We know all the hurdles have been removed, and that Alstom has been selected as the vendor of choice, technically, and technically and price. So it's just a matter of time. I think probably later this fall, maybe even into winter, early winter, December. But it's going to happen, and it's something that is the old adage is take it to the bank, and that is the situation.
Yeah, talking to Alstom employees, they all say everybody in the building there down at the Alstom facility knows it's going to happen. Things are already in the works. On St. James, well, some good news for St. James. They announced yesterday, hospital CEO says they brought in about $31,000 in the Friends for Mercy golf tournament back in September.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's an ongoing annual thing, which is important. We have to have a strong foundation and a strong financial support from the community and from the region for the hospital. We don't have those wealthy individuals that other communities have that, will drop $1 million or $2 million into the hands of Noyes or Jones. We have to depend upon the people in our region, hard workers, blue-collar people, to support the hospital, and they've done it for years and years, and they'll continue to do it. And one of the big things that St. James has in its favor is the Women's Auxiliary. Over 100 years old, and they do wonderful work for St. James. So I think the future is bright for St. James. We just have to work together to continue to stay united in our efforts to make sure the hospital stays where it is.
Also, I see St. James has brought on Dr. Ismail Mayer, the anesthesiologist. He's joined the St. James Board of Directors. You're on that too, Mayor Hogan, so show that you're glad to have Ismail on the board now.
Absolutely. Izzy was on the New Vision Task Force with me and others in our community, and he has nothing but the interests of this community at heart, and he wants to provide the best health care that's available in our region, and he's going to be an integral part of it.
Talking with Hornell Mayor Shawn Hogan. So far we've been talking about last night's debate, St. James and Alstom. Shawn, you're on the Hornell Industrial Development Agency there. Anything new that you can tell us about IDA projects and plans?
No, there's nothing. I mean, there's always ongoing work, and there's always potential plans right now. I think the effort of the IDA has been focused on this upstate initiative, whereas affectionately known as the Hunger Games, and they've been working to put together that center of excellence for transportation and transit technologies here in the community. We requested a significant amount of money through that application, and that's where the focus has been. But there's always, working with our current clients and employers in our region and seeking others. So there's always enough to do. And one of those things is working on the housing. The IDA happens to own that 22 acres of property above, from Wood to West Street, and so they're integrally involved in that too. But one thing back to Alstom there is that this Amtrak contract is huge, but Alstom is also seeking other work. We can't lose sight of the fact, that even though this is a huge transformational economic development project, it is a 6 or 7 year project. So they need to fill holes in their production schedule, and they need to keep that the world's largest transfer manufacturing facility busy. So they'll be seeking other work. I think one of the important developments this week was the governor and the MTA and the city of New York reached an agreement to fund the MTA Transit Capital Program to the tune of about $28 billion, which is huge, and that allows the MTA to plan for the future and the next generation of transit cars, which are the R211 and also some Long Island Railroad train sets, which Alstom, I'm sure, will be actively seeking. So there's other work out there to get, and that the getting this huge Amtrak contract is great, and it's transformational, but it's not the silver bullet. And we still have to keep working and supporting Alstom and other venues to seek other work with other transit providers.
Hornell Mayor Shawn Hogan, he came on this morning because Hornell IDA Chairman and Hornell Democratic Chairman Sam Naska was unable to make it. I want to thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule, Mr. Mayor.
No problem, Brian, anytime.
It's AM 1480 WLEA, Hornell, New York. ABC News is next.
Jim Bohannon, 5 a.m. to 6. Gordon Deal.